right, thanks everyone joining. We're taking a look at our grade 10s. Jen's just getting us set up. Just a reminder for our norms. Today, we're going to focus on norm number 2. So Jen, if you could just indicate that, we'll take the other ones off. And we really want to focus in on ask questions to deepen our understanding. So everyone has some question cards. The intent is that everyone's going to try and use 2 during our conversation today. We're normalizing the idea of asking questions of one another in our practice. Let's start off with some celebrations. Cheryl, do you have a celebration that we can turn to, and as quickly as possible just share what that is and we'll dig into what we did.
I want to bring forward Avery to celebrate. I also want to talk about Avery later
too.
But there is a celebration. She's got the highest mark on the last unit exam, and she's incredibly excited, and I am too, just about how well she did.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a huge win for her. So Cheryl, is there anything, I know that so much of that does depend on what is the student doing as well, but what are some things that you think you've done to set up Avery for success on that last exam?
Yeah, I think the thing that was different this time was that prior to the exam, we specifically focused on summarizing. So I think just the frequency of going back and then doing that critical thinking, she was just so well versed and knowledgeable and had the understanding.
Okay, thanks so much for celebrations. That's awesome to hear, everyone. We're going to move next into our students with key issues. Amber, can I ask that we set a 8-minute timer? And Colette, as we go through as our continuum curator, we have our continuums in front, but again, with your role, just a reminder to throw out ideas. Please add any ideas that you're seeing onto this, and then we'll try and get them back into the software. So let's go ahead. And Jen, can you turn on our student alerts? Yeah, you've got them on. We have some students there. Why don't we start off then with Madeline? And I can see there, let's open her up, not double checking assignments before handing in.
She doesn't seem to be checking her assignments before handing them in. She just seems to be rushing through them, just giving the basic answers, not really checking for accuracy. I know she can do much better, but just it's not being reflected in her assignments. So I'm just a little worried about her progress at this time.
Yeah, so do you think that it's the not being aware of the criteria or not intentionally returning to the criteria before handing in?
I think it might be her not returning to the criteria before handing it in.
Yeah, well, let's focus in on a key issue. So Jen, if you can put this in of intentionally checking on assignment criteria before submission. Would that capture it?
Yes, I think that would work.
Okay, so let's pause and think about some of our other students that we could also tag to this same key issue. Amber, anyone that comes to mind?
I've got Zoe for sure.
Zoe, okay,
yeah.
Let's add Zoe. How about Cheryl for you?
I
Just
do,
a name to add?
Owen and Elijah, you could add both.
Owen and Elijah. Okay, let's add both of them. Got Owen, Elijah, perfect. Okay, so let's start brainstorming, and we'll also see there is some things that we could consider coming from the WeCollab support network, and we're going to brainstorm there as well. Let's just start throwing out some ideas. What are some things that we can do to get the students intentionally checking before handing in?
Peer review,
Yeah.
that peer-to-peer partner opportunity to review each other's work with a little bit of a criteria.
Do you have some, can you share an example? Do you have an example of some peer criteria you've used in the past, Amber?
I do actually. I've got a couple of little sheets that I've used with where it really clarifies each other's role.
Would you be comfortable if we added an action not connected to the students, but to share out with us an example of what one of those looked like? Would you be able to dig in and find one?
What if we made a tweak to that idea? We could even condense the print and make it on a double-sided bookmark. I wonder if that's a strategy that we're all liking, if we could teach the strategy itself during advisory to all of our students, then they would understand the strategy. Let's add that in. We could bring it to our individual classes.
Based from our continuum of supports as well. Working with the classroom buddy
and that peer teaching models. They're utilizing their rubric,
Yes.
but that before they're diving into the assignment itself, we take the rubric and break it apart.
When you're thinking about Madeline, Lana, what's one thing, you can see our brainstorm list there, one thing that you're thinking could be a takeaway for her?
Well, I really like the peer review process, I think, because there's that social aspect, yet it's structured.
Okay, so we've got down the stapling, the peer review sheet. Jen got that, thanks Jen, and plan for peer review. What are you thinking as far as timeline? Try
I
with
think
her?
likely over the next 2 weeks, I would.
Okay, well let's say end of November.
Sure.
All right, thinking about Zoe. Amber, anything that you'd like to try, or is there anything that we're trying for Madeline that you'd like to replicate? All right, and how about for Elijah?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'd like to
As well
tag
as
in.
Owen?
Would you do that for Owen as well?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's add both of them. All right, so as we move along, we want to take a look now when we think about our academic focus. I know each one of you are asked to bring a student to look at for some enrichment or challenge. So let's once again set our student alerts. We'll bring them up. And why don't we focus in on Lucas? We know, like, Lucas does very well, but explain to us with the completing work quickly. Okay, seeing as we are short on time, Amber, let's set just 6 minutes. We want to ensure, are there any students that we need to be taking forward to our student support team? We're meeting again next week. Anyone have a student that we want to refer to that team? As we are ending off, let's close this meeting off for team tasks. Jen, I'd like to add one team task. We talked about that idea of a bookmark that everyone thought was a great idea. Could I put down that in one of your next department collab times, that let's go ahead and formulate that bookmark? Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much everyone. Really great job today. Look forward to the next one.